The problematic born sexy yesterday trope within the film industry. Whether it be subtle or bold, there is a gender trope that has been gaining popularity for decades, particularly within the Hollywood and Japanese film industry. This trope is used to describe a female protagonist who is innocent but sexy. She has the mind of a child but the body of a fully matured woman. These female characters tend to lack a sense of common knowledge, but at the same time they would also far exceed in a certain field, for example high intelligence or superpower. This gains them the respect of the male protagonist, whom they usually serve as a love interest. Renowned YouTuber and pop cultural critic Johnson McIntosh titled this gendered convention as the Born Sexy Yesterday trope, a reference to the film Born Yesterday. Despite being a popular trope that has been used since the 1940s, people have only begun criticizing it in recent years, more so after McIntosh introduced this term in 2017. Because of this new development, there is unfortunately not enough research done on the topic. I hope that my paper will serve as a starting point for future and deeper research. Although this trope is also popular within the fantasy genre, as can be seen in movies such as Splash and Enchanted, this research study will concentrate on the genre of science fiction, especially focusing on the element of man-made cyborg. Three films will be mainly used to conduct my study: Cyborg She, The Fifth Element, and Ex Machina. This proposal is designed as an overview of how my paper will critically analyze the Born Sexy Yesterday trope from a feminist and psychoanalytic approach. Instead of examining the characterizations of the female protagonist, I will focus on how the director chooses to represent the female protagonist in a certain way, thus forcing the audience to adopt his gaze, or more accurately, the male gaze. This means I will be analyzing the director's choice in camera movement of each film. It is important that the Born Sexy Yesterday trope is explored as it contains problematic and highly questionable connotations, example being sexism, sexualized exoticism, and pedophilia. By referring to secondary sources such as How to Read a Film by film critic James Monaco, I will perform a close analysis on the camera movement of each film to provide an insight into how the film director captures the Born Sexy Yesterday female character. For instance, how close-ups of certain body parts are frequently displayed, and how tracking shots are used to enhance the effect of the female character being constantly watched. Secondary sources such as visual pleasure and narrative cinema by feminist film theorist Laura Mulvey will be evaluated and used to analyze the Born Sexy Yesterday trope. Mulvey's theory of the male gaze claims that in mainstream Hollywood films, the female character is an image while the male character is the bearer of the look. In other words, women are often portrayed as passive objects of male sexual desire. Mulvey employs Freud's psychoanalytic theory to further demonstrate the way the unconscious of patriarchal society has structured film form. She explains how phallocentrism and a woman's absence of the penis is materialistic evidence for men to overpower women, reducing them to mere objects of scopophilia, which is the pleasure drawn from looking at a person or an object. Thus, the concept of the Born Sexy Yesterday trope is exemplified by the male gaze in male-directed movies, further emphasizing the problematic resonance of the patriarchal society in film. The first film that will be introduced in my research paper is the Japanese science fiction film Cyborg She, directed by Kwak Jae-yong. The movie is about a 20-year-old man named Jiro Kitamura and a female cyborg who time travels from the future in order to save Jiro from a terrorist attack. The film starts off with Jiro at a shopping center, buying himself a present to celebrate his 20th birthday. From his awkward body language and his constant narration of "I'm spending my birthday alone this year, like I always do," the audience is positioned to see Jiro as a meek and lonely person. The nameless cyborg girl, on the other hand, is portrayed to be a physically strong character with superpowers. However, it is later revealed that she is programmed to learn how to think and behave like a human. She was not only made to merely protect the protagonist, but to be given a soul that will allow her to learn how to gradually love Jiro. Indeed, it is almost as if she needs love in order to be complete. Cyborg Girl does not know how to complete even the simplest tasks such as paying money for food and clothes, comprehend intimate emotions, or exchange proper communication. Jiro is often frustrated by this, especially at the fact that she is unable to register his feelings for her and mutually return them. Cyborg Girl does, however, look extremely human, and many scenes sexualize her body. Male characters continuously praise her for her beauty, and Jiro's first impression of her is that she's extremely cute. At the same time, Jiro sexually harasses her by asking what her breasts are made of and if she's capable of having sexual intercourse. What the case of Jiro, in fact, is that the female sex itself is exotic. When he invites Cyborg Girl into his house, he tells her that no other woman besides his mother has stepped foot into his house before. Themes of exoticism of the female sex will be further researched in order to analyze Jiro's behavior towards Cyborg Girl. Secondly, I will analyze Luc Besson's The Fifth Element. Leela, the female protagonist of the movie, most fittingly performs the typical trope of a born sexy yesterday character. Recreated from multiple superior DNAs, Leela is a supreme being of the universe and the fifth and final element of the only weapon able to destroy evil. Despite being a superhuman existence, she takes the body of a grown woman and is depicted to be naive. Characters of the born sexy yesterday trope would often undress themselves in front of male characters, without feeling any embarrassment, because they do not understand why it would be embarrassing to expose their naked body. Several times throughout the movie, Lulu takes off her clothes in front of others without hesitation. In regard to this, male characters constantly refer to Lulu as perfect. Scenes such as these sexualize her innocence, which is problematic because it suggests pedophilic undertones. More research on the obsession of innocent women will be conducted to prove how the born sexy yesterday is a social problem that the film industry justifies. Similar to Cyborg Girl, Lilu is physically strong enough to fight for herself. With her incredible intelligence, she acquires knowledge of martial arts and masters its practice. Unlike Cyborg Girl, however, Lilu is often saved by the male protagonist, Corbin Dallas, who blatantly expresses his affection towards Lilu. Indeed, although Lilu states that she does not know how to love, because she was built to protect, not to love, Corbin teaches her how to love. In this way, Corbin also acts as her father figure, which indicates Carl Jung's theory of the Electra complex, a psychoanalytic term used to describe a girl's sexual attachment to her father. However, I will require more research to produce a clear point, as I am yet unsure of what deductions to draw out to this and if it is relevant to this topic. Another analysis I would like to undertake in my research paper is the sexualized exoticism of Leela. Leela is a supernatural creature, and Corbin finds this strangeness sexually appealing. Scholars Shaper et al. Introduced the term sexotic, which emphasizes on processes of sexualization and that constructs the exotic as sexually attractive, desirable, and stimulating. Male characters often sexualize the exotic female characters to the point they no longer view them as autonomous individuals but as idealized objects. Indeed, according to Schaper et al., sexoticization can unfold idealizing. Thus, sexoticization acts as a form of the male gaze, where the male character reforms the female character to his liking. He views her as a passive and submissive woman. Furthermore, Leela's alienation from the human world renders her uneducated when it comes to human customs, hence leaving her reliant on Corbin to educate her. This pleases Corbin and elevates him to a patriarchal, domineering figure. The fact that he is the dominant half of the binary enhances his patriarchal ego and dynamics of sexual power. According to sociologist Alan Johnson, patriarchy is a dynamic relationship between control and fear. It encourages men to seek security and status through control and to fear other men's ability to control them. The fear of being controlled also traces back to Freud's theory of the castration complex, where a boy fears being castrated by his father. The core value of patriarchal culture is control and domination, and men overcome their fear of being controlled by controlling women who lack the phallus. The last film to be introduced in my essay takes a different approach. Although Alex Garland portrays the female humanoid robot with born sexy yesterday traits, he seems well aware of the trope. While Ex Machina is shot in the male gaze, it simultaneously challenges the gaze and offers the audience an insight into the trope. Ava is a female cyborg created by Nathan Bateman, the CEO of a dominant search engine company called Blue Book. Caleb Smith, a programmer who works for the company, wins a competition to stay at Nathan's extravagant home and participate in his confidential project that involves communicating with Ava. Caleb is instantly captivated by Ava, and the more Ava expresses her interest towards him, his fascination soon turns into affection. Caleb designs a plan to help free Ava from her confined cell and even dreams of having a romantic relationship with her once they are outside. Only, it is revealed towards the end of the story that Ava had manipulated Caleb into believing she was in love with him as a means of using him to escape. When her scheme succeeds and Ava leaves Nathan's house, she abandons Caleb without a second glance. We realize that Caleb too was guilty of objectifying Ava as he pleased. By presenting Nathan a strongly unlikable character with villainous behaviors, the director deludes the audience into believing that Caleb is a heroic figure. As a matter of fact, Caleb is no different from Jill or Corbin. He also looks at Ava through the male gaze, but Ava is not the submissive and dependent woman he fantasized her to be. In fact, she uses his male gaze as a part of her scheme. Upon knowing that she was being filmed by surveillance cameras that would be watched by Caleb, she deliberately displays suggestive actions. For instance, the scene where she slowly removes her stocking and her dress. By using a full shot to capture Ava's every movement, the audience feels as if they are together with Caleb, invading Ava's privacy. The next extreme close-up shot of Caleb's Adam's apple affirms the male gaze we share. In these ways, the director shows how important cinematic images are to influencing the mind of the audience. In my paper, I'll be using articles by feminist film theorists such as Laura Mulvey to explore the sexism illustrated within cinema, the representation of the perfect woman through the male gaze, and how the directing of a scene plays a big role in how characters are framed will also be scrutinized. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis will be researched for deeper analysis of the director's mind, and hopefully I will be able to form the conclusion that the film acts as the director's unconscious desires and anxieties. Furthermore, an insight into the camera movement used within my chosen films will be analyzed, and film theory will be employed to criticize how the film industry portrays the born sexy yesterday trope in a positive light. To raise awareness to this ongoing issue within the film industry, it is important that further research of this topic is conducted, especially since the study field is so vast and little research has been done.